and welcome to another video. It's been, I would like to say a hot minute, but it's likely been more, about a year since my last video, which must have been my through hike video of the Tour Mont Blanc. But big things are coming up since I'm now living in the UK and I have another hike planned for this summer, and I'm going to be doing the coast to coast through hike, walking from one side of the island of the United Kingdom to the other side, starting at a place called St. Pease, walking 309 kilometers across the island to Robin Hood's Bay. I figured, since in my last packing video, which was at the very early stages of when I started doing long distance hiking and is completely outdated, I sit down and actually film what I will be bringing this time around, showing some of the learnings that I've taken from all the experience last year and show you what I got new in the meantime and haven't really put to use just yet. Let's get rolling. Let's start with my backpack. This is my biggest purchase since last summer. If you remember, I used to have this blue hike backpack that I absolutely loved. I very much was very comfortable with, but I wanted to tone down. I wanted to go a notch lighter in my backpack. So this time around, I'll be bringing my 3FUL Gear lightweight backpack that packs up to 70 liters or 75 liters even. Nothing that I'll ever need. I got this bad boy off 3FUL Gear website. I haven't properly used it yet. I've worn it twice on a city trip and a smaller hike, but not fully loaded, so I'm very excited to see how it will hold up. The second major update that I made since my very first hike are probably my shoes. I don't actually know what brand they're. If you follow my Tour du Mont Blanc through hike videos, you've probably seen these shoes before. These are my beloved La Sportiva Concha. I think they're trail runners, but Mountaineer trail runners. I absolutely love them. If you also followed me for some time, you know that I've had severe issues with getting blisters and like with my feet in general. Ever since having these, I haven't had a single problem. Absolutely love these. And another very important thing that I upgraded on since the very beginning, but also did so during my Tour du Mont Blanc, is that I invested very much into not only my shoes, but also the socks that go into them. My one major thing are Inshinchi socks. These are toe socks that will prevent your getting blisters between your toes. And I use these as liner socks, and on top of those I'll wear the regular lightweight hiking socks that I had also in the previous year. I'll be bringing 2 pair of hiking socks and I'll be bringing 1 pair of Inshinchi liner. So I'll be wearing these every day, and then I'll usually wear these for my day hikes and have these as a second pair dry in my backpack for sleeping, or in case these get really wet and don't dry overnight. Since we're talking footwear, the only other thing for my feet I'll be bringing are my flip-flops. You may recall that for my Tour du Mont Blanc, I brought Crocs, very light blue Crocs. I love them. I thought they were super convenient. However, actually they moved them from Switzerland to the UK, so this is what I have and this is what I'll be bringing. So moving from the feet upwards, I'll be bringing 2 pair of pants. A long pair of leggings, which are just Nike Pro leggings, which are my absolute favorite, and a pair of shorts. And I highly recommend bringing one that has like a liner internally to kind of prevent scuffing while walking. I'll also be bringing 1 pair of long thermal, and these are the Icebreaker 200. I have not brought them on any previous hikes. I'm going to be evaluating whether or not the temperature and the weather once I start will indicate that I'm going to need them or not, and then make a decision based on that. Lastly, because we're in the UK and rain is such a big component to weather here, I'll also be bringing a pair of rain pants, something that I as well haven't done in the past because I would always go in the Swiss mountains in August and July, and the weather would be more or less dry, or at least I would dry overnight. Because again, I'll do the same evaluation as I do with the thermal pants just a couple days before starting. For my underwear, I'll bring, again, 2 pair of underwear. One are the icebreaker, and then there is a synthetic Under Armour panty, and I'll be switching back and forth between them, and you don't want to know the details. For my upper body, I'll be bringing 1 tank top, either this or our very well-known silver one that I wore last time around, and another very much staple of mine, the icebreaker Cool Light. I updated, got a new one since our last time, since this very familiar color kind of got a bit bored of it. So this time around we got a green one, and I'm so excited to finally wear it out in the open. For sleeping, in the tent, I'll usually use the Icebreaker Merino 200, which is basically the top part of the pants that I'm also having. I have brought these on every hike in the past. I've slept in it 95% of the time, unless it was super hot, which it kind of never was on a Tour du Mont Blanc on that altitude. And in certain moments, I was actually also glad to have it for during the day, because it was cold, it was windy, it was snowing, and everything else was wet. So I'll absolutely be bringing this long sleeve thermal. The other long sleeve thing that I'll be bringing is my infamous hiking shirt. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace just before going on my Tour du Mont Blanc through a hike last year, and I fell so in love with this. These hiking shirts, honestly, I cannot recommend them enough. Sweat wicking, they're drying super fast, they're absolutely comfortable for carrying backpacks, so really love those. If I decide the weather demands, I'll also be bringing my Mammoth zip-up hoodie. This is a very lightweight and zipper hoodie, and it's the only piece of clothing that has a hood, which is something that every now and then can be very convenient, especially if you're hiking in an area that's windy and you don't want to wear a hat at all times of your hike. Whether we're in Switzerland or in the UK, one thing that's never missing is an absolute staple, and that's my rain jacket. I'll be bringing, as per usual, my super colorful, beautiful Patagonia Houdini, and this is a man's L, which I find to be more convenient for me, so I have enough space to move my arms and pull them back in if it gets really ugly out there. And then lastly, I'll be bringing, of course, my tube from Buffs. I'll cut it in 2 pieces if you remember that. Bigger part I'll usually wear around my neck, and then like a smaller part more as a headband. And because of the temperature difference that I'm expecting, I'll also be bringing my very old, very beloved Carhartt beanie. And then to very last, when we talk about piece of clothing, this is another new addition to the Patagonia family, or to my family in general. And this is my new Patagonia hat. I'm a big fan of wearing hats on hikes because I don't necessarily love wearing sunglasses if needed, but I also think they're very convenient if it's raining, to keep the water and the rain out of your face. But enough about clothes, let's talk about my sleeping system, which probably is the one thing that hasn't changed, I would like to say, at all, because it's been rock solid, pun intended. Just as a reminder, I'll still be carrying my Expat Simlight mat, which looks really big, but truth be told, it's light and it's absolutely fantastic. I did consider downsizing on any kind of Sea to Summit ultralight or whatever, but I'm not willing to spend the money on something that I have already and that is so good and has really provided me with everything that I needed in the past. Absolutely same with the tent. I am in love with my Expat Lyra 3, which is the tent that I had bought around April of 2020. I think it's absolutely great. It is big. I know 2 people is the maximum, in my opinion, that can sleep in it, which makes it 1 person too big for me carrying it across a country. But again, if I were going on a 365-day hike, I wouldn't probably carry it and I would downsize. But for the 10 days in a very windy and UK type of weather, I think it's perfect. I'll carry it and I'm very excited to do so. The only one thing that I bought additionally in the last couple months is a Terra Hiker tarp. which is something that I decided to bring this time around as a sub mat for under the tent, because I'm expecting the grounds in the UK to be much more muddy and wet and less dry as they were probably in Switzerland. So I'm considering bringing it. It weighs about like 400 grams, so it is quite some weight. It's also very spacious, so I haven't fully decided yet whether or not it's worth bringing. I'll keep you informed once I know more. I've been sitting here editing this video realizing that I've been talking about my sleep system, showing my tent, my mat, the tarp for the bottom of the mat, but I haven't actually mentioned what sleeping bag I'll be using, which, no surprise, it's the same sleeping bag I've been carrying around for the last year. It's a Mountain Engineering ultra light and I am obsessed with it. It is very, very, very puffy, so very voluminous, but it actually packs down very, very small, and it's so warm. It is designed to be for minus, I think, like 10 degrees Celsius, and I'm a very cold sleeper. I've not had a single cold night even without the thermal leggings. Like, I'm 100% been really warm, and for the most part not wearing anything other than panties. It's a California-based company, and I love that they have these little labels inside saying who stitched it together. This product was sewn in the US with pride, and I can know that Pyong, Moy, and Martinez were the people that sew my sleeping bag together. So I absolutely love this about that company. I love this product. Back to the regular video. The last thing, my cooking system. Nothing much has changed in my cooking system, at least since my Tour du Mont Blanc trip. I'm still bringing my MSR Pocket Rocket, as well as the cooking pot that came with the Pocket Rocket at the time. I also just realized that I have not opened this since I last cleaned it after my Tour du Mont Blanc hike, so absolutely everything that you see in here is exactly how I brought it last time around. So this is the Pocket Rocket MSR. It's the most lightweight stove that's out there. I'll be bringing cloth, and I'll bringing my little tiny baby sponge that I use for cleaning it out. I have a small, tiny little lighter in there, and carry this beautiful hand-cut knife that I got from a friend. Because the C2C is on a very inhabited route and it's not very much in the mountains, and I don't expect to be cooking as much as I would on a hot stove back in the Swiss mountains, I always be carrying the tiniest of all the gas canisters, which is 100 grams. I know that there are shops on the way where I can refill if that's something that I would need to be doing, but I don't want to carry anything bigger and heavier and then not use it for the rest of the hike. Another new addition is something that I haven't really actually needed in the Swiss mountains because the water is very good and there was a lot of access to clean public water sources. But I know that this is something that I'm not quite sure about how to really navigate in the UK. I may need to actually get water from sources like a stream and a river, which in Switzerland I felt completely comfortable drinking out of without filtering, and I don't really do that here. So I splurged on a Sawyer water squeeze. This is probably like the most famous water filtration system that's out there for long distance hiking. I have never used it. I bought it last year right after my Tour du Mont Blanc hike, and I haven't used it yet, so I actually need to go and Google on how to use it. So if you have any inputs and help on how to use it, please let me know down in the comments. Bringing my big water bottle as per usual. You can basically screw that up top and have a filtration right as you drink out of the water bottle. And then additionally, I'll be bringing my platypus, just empty in case that I know that there won't have a lot of access to water on a certain section of the hike. And lastly, for my cooking, I got a new addition, which is the C2 Summit Spork, which is something that I couldn't find in Switzerland, so I got it in the US. And I know it's so trivial, but for me, this makes me really excited. So one thing I haven't yet fully figured out is how I'm going to be managing my ditty bag, which is basically all the personal stuff, but definitely be bringing one of those little cleaning sponges, which is what I used for makeup removal every day, and for washing my face, I'll be bringing a full-fledged toothbrush because there's no way for me to downsize on a toothbrush, and the same with the toothpaste as well as inner dental brushes. There's just no way for me to go without those. I'll also, of course, carry a hand sanitizer, which I would have done anyways pre-COVID or outside of COVID situation, but even more so now in these times, it's kind of the only way on how to wash your hands after you have to go along on your journey. Most important, in my opinion, the absolute most important thing that you cannot miss is your Luca tape, or whichever type of tape that you use for covering your feet and minimizing rubbing spots and blisters and whatnot. Another new addition is this Deuce trowel. This is the UL trowel. It's 17 grams. It's literally the lightest weight trowel that's out there, and it's used to kind of digging your little hole if you have to do small or secondary business out in the woods and you don't have access to a loo. Like, this is what you'll be using. It's super lightweight, and I'll be carrying that just outside of my backpack at all times. And with that, we're ending in the electronics section. I'll be carrying, as per usual, my pet's headlamp. This piece of electronic has been with me for probably like 20 plus years, so it's held up extremely well through so many Girl Scout camps, and yeah, it's coming on my next hike. I'll also be carrying the Anchor battery. This is a 20,000 milliampere charging battery with 2 USB ports, and truth be told, this piece weighs quite a lot, and I did carry it last time around through Anti-Tour Mont Blanc. I don't necessarily say that I used it to its full extent because there were so many opportunities to charge my phone on the way in cities and villages and hotels and restaurants that I ate at. I do expect that this won't be any different this time around. However, I like to know that I have a full good battery that enables me to charge my phone about 4 full times. So 4 times that I can charge my phone with this piece of brick along my route. Of course, I'll be bringing my phone charger, a power plug for any hotel, my wallet. It's my tiny little Patagonia wallet. I'm that fancy. My sunglasses. I'll be bringing a lot of cash because there's not a lot of places along the path that use credit cards, so it's very important to bring enough cash. And last and not very least, the 2 single items that will make sure that I'm staying on track at all times during my C2C UK British Island cross hike. My Cicerone coast to coast walking guide. I love Cicerone. I've used them for previous hikes. I think their guides are fantastic. Cannot stress enough and recommend them enough. This one comes with a specific map booklet because the C2C is supposed to be not well marked along the path, but not to worry. The other item to keep me on track is my Gut Hack app. On it, I'll have the entire route crossing the island, and every step of the way, the app will help me make sure that I know where I'm going, where I'm at, what's coming next. Definitely check this out if you're planning to do a bigger hike. Get yourself a Cicerone, download the Gut Hack app, and buy the specific route that you're going to go for. And that is it. I think that closes this very long video about all the material I'm taking. One thing that I have not mentioned at this point, and I'm very well aware, is on how I'm actually going to pack all of this into my new bag. And that is specifically because it's new and I don't know just yet how to really fit everything in, so it's comfortable carrying and convenient for accessing the things that I need. I do have a system that I used in my old backpack, and I will definitely try to replicate it because it was exactly what I needed in terms of layering things and accessing the individual items. but I think this is something that I will kind of develop and get into it as I'm going on the path. That's it. Of course, all the food's still missing. I haven't mentioned that. I think that's super obvious. There's going to be food that I'm carrying. And with that, I'm closing the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this helpful and a little bit entertaining, and you get just a tiny bit as excited as I am for this next adventure coming up. If you want to have more videos, either check out all the ones that I've done before, or at least subscribe to my channel somewhere down here below and see what's coming next. I will be vlogging the hike, obviously, and keep you all updated as well on my Instagram. Have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!